Uh-oh.
Wow.
Should be good. Hi, sunshine.
Yeah. And then we'll just, I'll contact Mr. Davis on Cook's East to see if the audio is okay.
Okay. And then I'm just going for 20 minutes, or you have to be done at 12:30?
10 or 15 minutes.
15 minutes or 10, okay.
Physically open. Huh? What? No, we were gonna ask if you could finish practice in your office, but I see you're busy, so never mind. Okay.
If you find another place, I'll find you or come back in 10 minutes and I might be able to.
Okay.
Like, what? I don't know.
And they did. Right.
Are we ready or we're waiting?
I haven't got
Okay.
Maybe you'll do one.
That's okay.
Right, no, I get it.
Waiting. Because I'm streaming it. Oh.
Let's go since we're talking about it, if you don't mind.
And then your stop time is 12:30, right? Your, this end time that you have to stop is 12:30?
We don't have to, we have the whole hour.
Oh, you do?
I think I would prefer to go on Tuesday or not.
It's on like bar style.
You all get it. Or I'm gonna take it out.
Yeah.
Wait, so we have to.
Yeah, it's done.
Okay, all right, text me whenever you.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
The egg is outside of the shark. Now, one. It was so much fun. Right, has been today? I'm fine.
Can I get everyone's permission to like take pictures? Huh? You don't have to like look at the camera.
All natural.
I'm having a face conversation. I think that's something funny.
I want to get shit. I want to tell you, like, she doesn't want to see it tomorrow. When you started Melvin, did you realize it was a girl?
Tell them the girl.
So back to 14. Now, we're going to do something.
This was so like, underneath that you.
That's right.
Do you want donut or cookie? Cookie? Blue or white?
Okay, we're good.
Okay, all right, so, I'm Dr. Leslie Weiser, I'm from Fresno State, and I came over here today just to talk to you about depression and anxiety. So you can kind of recognize what the warning signs are, if you might have that or if a friend might have that. And then I'm going to give you some tools that you can use to help you if that is going on. So things to look for if you're feeling depressed or if you know someone that maybe seems depressed. So they might be sad, irritable, feeling negative or worthless, feeling angry, might not be doing well in school, might not be showing up to classes. So you could watch for those things. Oftentimes people feel misunderstood, or maybe you're finding like people feeling overly sensitive. So those are all signs of possible depression. Also, if people are using drugs to kind of escape or drinking to kind of escape, that can be a sign. Eating too much, sleeping too much can be a sign. Sometimes people engage in self-harm. So if you know people that are cutting themselves or burning themselves or hitting themselves, that could be a sign also that there could be some depression going on. A lot of times people lose interest in things. And so maybe normally you would be out like hanging out with your friends, doing things, involved in activities, and all of a sudden you're just not enjoying things anymore and you kind of just stop doing those things or just really don't want to. Also possible that that could be a sign. Avoiding social connection. So sometimes people start to isolate and maybe avoid spending time with their friends and just keeping to themselves. So that's another possible sign. And then last one would be having suicidal thoughts, which could be also another sign. So those are all things that you can look for in yourself or in a friend or family member if you're concerned about someone else. As far as anxiety goes, you might notice feeling nervous or tense, having a sense that just something bad is going to happen, just a feeling of danger or like doom, or panicky feeling. You might notice that your heart rate goes up, and so you might feel your heart racing or pounding. You might notice that your breathing changes and that you breathe shallow, short, fast breathing in your upper chest. That could be a sign of anxiety as well. Maybe breaking out into a sweat or being shaky, also signs of anxiety. Feeling weak or tired. Sometimes when you have anxiety, it can feel like it wears you out, and so you just might feel sort of drained by that. And then also trouble concentrating or trouble thinking. So you might feel that all you can do is just kind of worry about whatever's on your mind and you can't stop thinking about it. That would be a sign as well. So besides that, you might notice trouble sleeping. So maybe you're not getting your full amount of sleep that you would typically get. Sometimes you can have even gastrointestinal problems, digestive problems. So you might say stomach, issues or intestinal issues. You might feel like you cannot stop worrying, so you just can't control it. It just goes on and on. And then also you might start avoiding things because you're afraid that you're going to feel anxious in particular situations, so you stop going and doing those things. So if those are things that are happening for you or a friend or family member, then you can just kind of know that it's possible that anxiety could be happening. What's really important to know for depression or anxiety is that just because you have one or two of those symptoms doesn't mean that you have depression, doesn't mean that you have anxiety. In order to really be, saying that you have a problem, you need to have a cluster, several of those symptoms. So don't be alarmed if you have one or two of those things going on, or if a friend does. Okay, so that's important that you know that. So the main thing that I want to do really today is if you do recognize any of those things, even if you have one or two, you might want to do something about it, right? So it doesn't really escalate and become worse. So I want to teach you a couple things that you can do that can really help calm you down, help you feel better, get out of the thoughts that create the depression or create the anxiety. So one thing I want you to know is that the thoughts that you think have a big effect on how you feel. Most of the time our mind is either focused on the past or focused on the future. It's rarely focused on what's happening right now. And so it's really important to get your mind into now if you want to be able to feel good. And maybe you've noticed already in your life that if you focus on the past and you're thinking about things that you didn't like, didn't want, that were upsetting, if you stay stuck there, you're going to feel bad. And eventually you're going to spiral down into feeling depressed if you stay stuck there. right? On the other side of things, if you start worrying about the future and you're saying, what if this happens, what if that happens, and you worry about these negative outcomes that you don't want, if you stay stuck there, same thing, you're going to spiral into anxiety, right? So we want to avoid getting stuck in those thought patterns that lead us to feeling depressed or lead us to feeling anxious. So you want to be able to get your mind into now. And one of the best ways that I know to do that is to focus on your breathing. And so if you do a meditation practice, and the one that I like to do is called mindfulness meditation, it really helps to bring your mind into now. And it also helps because it teaches you how to breathe correctly, to turn on a relaxation response in your body, which will really help if you're feeling anxious, right? It's going to help you feel better. If you're feeling depressed, it's also going to help because it kind of puts you into like a positive state, I guess is the best way that I could say it. So I want to teach you how to do this, right? Okay, so when you're doing mindfulness meditation, there's two parts to it. One is breathing correctly. The other one is what you do to focus, to get out of that mind chatter of the past or the future. So I'm going to demonstrate for you, and then if you're not eating right now, right, I know it's lunchtime. If you're not eating right now, you could try this with me after I demonstrate, okay? So I have one hand on my stomach, one hand on my upper chest, so I can feel the expansion. You want to breathe deep into the bottom of your lungs. When you breathe deep into the bottom of your lungs and you get that expansion in your belly, and you may feel some in your chest, that turns on a relaxation response in our body. Our body's designed to relax when we breathe this way, okay? So as I breathe, you're going to hear me breathe as well. So could you see the expansion? Hopefully you can all see that, right? My belly's expanding out because I'm breathing deep into the bottom of my lungs. Maybe you noticed that I was breathing slowly. I'm inhaling maybe 5 seconds, 4 or 5 seconds. Then I pause. Then I'm exhaling about the same amount of time, 4 or 5 seconds, right? So you want to breathe slowly and evenly in and out. If you breathe too fast, you're going to feel lightheaded or dizzy, and your body will not relax. So if you're not relaxing, you know you need to slow it down. Next part is, what do you do with your mind, right? So maybe you notice that you're always thinking all the time. Anybody else ever notice that your mind's constantly chattering away, thinking about stuff, right? So we want to be able to get out of that mind chatter. And so I listen to the sound of my breathing so that I can disconnect from thinking. So if a thought comes up while I'm doing this, or a feeling comes up while I'm doing this, or even a physical sensation in the body, as soon as I realize that I'm distracted by any of those things, I start listening to the sound of my breathing again. That brings me right back into now, because your breath is always happening right now, right? Can't breathe for yesterday, can't breathe for tomorrow, always in the moment. So that's the best way to get your mind there. Okay, so if you don't want to listen to the sound of your breathing, you can also focus on the sensation. And in that case, just feel the air going in through your nostrils, or feel the air hitting the back of your throat as you inhale, or you could just feel your belly rising and falling. It doesn't matter what you pick, it just matters that you have one way that you will anchor to your breathing whenever you get distracted, okay? So if you want to try this with me now, you can put one hand on your stomach and one hand on your upper chest. If you like, you can close your eyes. If you rather not, you can just have them half open. Just look down your nose at a point a few feet ahead of you towards the floor, just to rule out any visual distraction, okay? And just take a slow breath in, relax your stomach muscles, and just focus on the sensation for this moment of your belly expanding out as you breathe in slowly, and then pause, and then slowly release the breath about the same amount of time. And then just do that one more time, slowly filling the lungs from the bottom up. Pause, and then slowly releasing the breath, emptying the lungs fully. And then when you've done that a couple times, you can just look back my way. All right, and we'll just check in and just see. Did anybody notice just how it felt to just do that a couple times? Anyone notice a difference? Okay, I see some nodding. So hopefully, even just doing that a couple of times, you already feel better, right? And you might start to notice maybe your muscles relax a little bit. Maybe you just feel a little lighter, a little more at ease. So generally, when I'm doing this, I do have people just do this for a couple of minutes. And so we can try that out right now and just see what it's like to focus on your breathing just for 2 minutes, all right? And so it gives you the chance just to see how powerful you actually can be in changing your mood, changing how you feel. Because whether you're feeling anxious or depressed, this is like a way to get a break from whatever is going on in your head that makes you feel that way, and actually just to bring it down and feel good. So let's give it a try. I'm going to time us, all right? So I want you to not have to worry about the time, okay? And so we're all just going to do this just for 2 minutes, just focusing on your breathing. And if you get distracted at any point, you're just going to return your awareness to whatever it is that you want to use to anchor to your breathing. So that's the sound of your breath or the sensation of the air going through your nostrils or your belly and chest, rising and falling, whatever you pick, all right? So let's go ahead. And so you can just sit as comfortably as you can in the seating that we have here, right? And just for this point, you can put your hands down if you want. If you like, it's okay to keep them on your stomach and your chest, but that takes a little muscle, and you might want to just relax as we do this. So just let your body relax, and as much as you're able where you're sitting. And just close your eyes if you can, or have them half open if you prefer. And just allow yourself now to take a nice, slow, deep breath in, filling the bottom of your lungs, and then slowly releasing the breath, emptying the lungs all the way. And just allow yourself now to focus on either the sound or the sensation of breathing in, breathing out, slowly and deeply. Just allowing yourself to breathe slowly, deeply at your own natural rhythm, aware of filling your lungs from the bottom up, and then slowly releasing the breath fully. And just stay with that now. And any time you get distracted by a thought or a feeling or a physical sensation, just notice whatever it is that grabbed your attention, and then just bring your awareness back to that one way that you're going to anchor to your breathing, either sound or sensation. So just aware of breathing in and breathing out. And just staying at your own natural rhythm. Just letting yourself breathe slowly and deeply, and allowing your body to relax more and more with each breath that you take. Again, if you're lost in thought or a feeling or a physical sensation, just notice now whatever it is, and then bring your awareness back to your breathing. Just slowly breathing in, filling the lungs, and slowly breathing out, fully releasing the breath. And when you're ready now, you can take one more nice, slow, deep breath in and release, and open your eyes. Okay, so did anybody notice doing that for a couple minutes? Notice any change? Anybody feel more relaxed? Yeah, okay, awesome. So you can see that just by breathing that way, in just a couple of minutes, you have the power to calm your body. It's really great for stress. It's great for managing anxiety, managing depression. The main thing is that you want to disconnect from those thoughts that are feeding the anxiety, fueling the depression, and this is a way that you can do that and bring things down. There's another way also that you can help yourself if you're experiencing anxiety or depression, and that's to use something called thought stopping. And so anybody here, just show of hands, anyone heard of thought stopping? Okay, so it's a new idea, and that's a good thing. It's always good to learn something new. So this is really helpful also for stopping the thought pattern. So the idea, just like I was saying before, is that when you start to feel depressed or anxious, your mind's kind of stuck in a thought pattern, right? And so you're thinking whatever the thoughts are that make you feel upset, make you feel down about whatever already happened, right? Or if you're anxious, you're thinking about the future and whatever's worrying you, and you just kind of get stuck there. And you may also have some negative things that you say to yourself about yourself because of what's happening. You might have critical statements or judgmental statements. So you want to be able to stop that. So thought stopping is just using STOP, right, as your guide, right? And so S is for just settling in. And so you just kind of stop, right, and settle in. And so to do that, you might just even picture a stop sign, picture the hand, see the word stop. You could even just say the word stop to yourself, but you want to do something to just stop the moment, right? Stop the thought pattern. And then the T is for just taking a breath like we just did, right? So you're just gonna take a breath slowly, fill your lungs, release the breath. And then O is for just becoming an observer of your experience and just noticing what are the thoughts. Now you may notice that when you're going along your day, maybe you're doing fine and then all of a sudden you don't feel good. So all of a sudden you feel depressed or all of a sudden you feel anxious. If you can notice what was the thought that I was just having, or what were maybe there's more than one thought, then you can say, oh, okay, that's what triggered it, right? Once you know what it is, now you can say, okay, well, that's the thought. Now what can I do with this? And so then you can practice something that's actually going to help you and work to make you feel better, right? And so one thing that you can do is you can just sit and breathe like we just did. Or maybe you're going to decide that you just want to talk to a friend or talk to a family member if you're feeling down, right? Or if you're feeling anxious and it's starting to feel like it's getting overwhelming. So reach out if you do need help, right? That's an important thing to do. If there's somebody that you trust, like if there's a teacher here at school or there's an adult in your life, family member or friend, reach out to them if you're feeling like you're overwhelmed with what's going on, and see if you can find some strategies that are going to help you to kind of feel better. Sometimes just getting outside, and luckily, University High, there's beautiful campus, right? And just getting outside and just being around nature is a way that you can calm yourself, lift your mood. And so that's another thing that you can do. So it just helps to kind of notice what the thoughts are and find some alternatives that you can do to lift yourself up in the moment. Okay, so, and then the other thing that I didn't mention that you can do is also think about the big picture. A lot of times when we're really upset, we're focusing on just what's happening right now in this moment, and sometimes we really blow it into something a lot bigger than it is. So think about, is what I'm worrying about or is what I'm upset about going to matter 6 months from now? Because oftentimes the things that we're upset about, maybe we won't even care 2 weeks from now. It's right. So if you can put it in perspective, it helps you kind of to shift out of it and to recognize that maybe it's not as important as it seems like in this moment. So that's another way that you can practice what works. All right. So does anybody have a question? Okay. All right. Then I think then I am done. So I wish you all well. Hope you have a good finish to your semester. Thank you.